Give me 2 minutes and I will teach you what creates trauma and how to heal it. Here we go. When you were a child, you were perfect, beautiful and innocent, but you were also very needy. You knew that if nobody took care of you and fed you and hugged you, you will die. So you did everything to ensure you wouldn't die. And this is where it starts. Because one day you felt very big emotions in your tiny little body, but you noticed that instead of love, you got a cold shoulder, or maybe even a punishment. Maybe you cried and saw your mom's annoyed face or your dad's angry look. So you understood that there was a part of you that, when expressed, puts you in danger. And since you wanted to survive and to be loved by mom and dad, you decided that you must avoid this part of you. So your authenticity was the price you paid for love. The problem is that a few decades later, all that's left of you is all the survival masks that you have worn to try and be loved. People call this the ego, and living from the ego is super exhausting, because imagine that you had to play different characters every single day for decades. First, you would eventually forget who you truly are. And eventually your body will scream for a little break. This is where addiction comes, because addiction is not a problem, but a solution, since it provides you with that tiny little bit of a mental break. Now, on top of this, living with these masks creates anxiety, inflammation, and chronic illness. But the good news, or bad for some people, is that your body is a genius. It loves you so much that it will go through extreme physical and emotional pain to point the way. It will even choose your romantic partners for you, because what better way to find out what we need to heal inside than to see it reflected, mirrored from the outside. For example, the little boy who was yelled at by his angry mother grows up to be the nice guy who, afraid of his anger but also afraid of standing for himself, ends up being yelled at and mothered by his wife. He ends up dating mommy. The little girl who was sad and afraid about her father's absence often grows into the boss babe, the needless, hyper-independent woman who attracts men with whom she ends up feeling sad and afraid. This woman attracts emotional and available men who don't care, end up leaving her too, just like daddy did. I don't know if you can see the perfection in this, because trauma is not the fact that mom was violent. Trauma is growing up not knowing that you could have boundaries. Trauma is not that dad was never present. Trauma is growing up not feeling worthy of care. In essence, trauma is not what happened, but the ways in which you traded authenticity for the illusion of love. It's the masks you build to cope with what happened, and the ways in which you disconnected from your true self in order to survive. Disconnection is the root of pain and trauma. Reconnection must be the solution. Reconnecting to the emotions that you suppressed growing up and using them as fuel to build yourself up, because to heal trauma, you must be willing to drop the mask and live in the tender experience of being authentic. And unless you're willing to stand up for your life, be yourself, and to risk losing love in the process, you are not yet ready to break the cycle.